Hey man, I started listening to my own podcast, and I don't ever listen to my own podcast, but I started listening and realized that the stuff that we say right now is actually being recorded and then published. So that was
I've been doing that recently.
yeah. Well,
Not like maybe the listeners can like
that's
kind of
good.
hear a little behind the scenes beforehand.
Man, that's great. So anyway, I was laughing. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Real Health Podcast. I am your host. I am the owner here at the Real Health Co. We are a chiropractic office. We have a gym. We're excited about our growth in our Armor Gym location as that continues to expand. My business partner Dusty's doing a phenomenal job with that. That's continuing to grow. I mean, we're launching our next location in Oak Ridge here, hopefully January 2025. So some fun things are coming down the pipe. Let's dive in. Let's talk through. Actually, we're flipping the script. We've been talking about big pharma, and the pharmaceutical industry is definitely, as we talk through medications, diagnosis, and disorders. Yeah, it's been wild to look at the data on statins and Ozempic, but when we look at the leading cause of death in our country, it's heart disease, cancer, but the third is medical errors and medications. Most people don't understand medical errors and medications is the third leading cause of death in our country. But when we look at the first two, cancer and heart disease, those are preventable chronic diseases. Now, most of us have been told it is due to genetics and it's our family. My dad had heart disease, so I got heart disease. That was my best way to sound like someone from the South. I'm obviously not from the South. But hey, let's talk through the first two. So we're going to actually highlight big pharma. So big food. We've been talking about big pharma. We're going to highlight big food today. So we're going to talk through really what I want to have a discussion on are the 10 foods that you think are healthy, that big pharma sells that are healthy, that you need to stop consuming immediately. What are the 10 foods that are ultra processed that you think are healthy, that you need to stop consuming ASAP? So that's what we're going to talk about. We just mentioned, the little tidbit on medical errors, medications, but when it comes to food is either going to heal the body or it's going to drive disease. And ultra-processed food is not food at all. It is not food. It's not God-made food. It's man-made fuel, in essence. It is not even food. It is calories, man-made calories with additives to make them highly addictive and highly tasty. They're driving taste. And so they're chemical additives that make your brain think they taste amazing, and then they're highly addictive, and they're not satiating. So you just want more and more and more. So here's some data as I was kind of looking through the research, and this is just some quick data on ultra processed foods. The average American consumes more than 57% of their daily calories from ultra-processed food. So, hold on. You might need to edit this because I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm going to sneeze. Am I going to sneeze? No, not going to sneeze.
I'm about to sneeze too, but I think I held it off.
Well done.
Should we leave this in the podcast?
Okay, let's go because I didn't sneeze. Neither did you. Well done. Look at us. Podcast. Okay, back to it. So 57% of calories are coming from ultra-processed ingredients. Well, I don't even want to call them food. It drives me crazy calling them food. From ultra-processed man-made fuel, okay? So 57% of calories. And those who are on average consume about 22 pounds of chemical food additives every single year. 22 pounds of chemical additives. Imagine that. Imagine a 22-pound dumbbell. That's how much chemical additives in your food is being consumed by the average American. And 57% of calories are coming from ultra-processed food. This is cancer, heart disease. This is number one. Number two, not to mention Alzheimer's, dementia. When you look at how much we overeat, ultra-processed food actually causes us on average, per person who consumes ultra-processed food, they consume an average of 500 more calories per day. And that's because, again, they are desirable. They're not satiating. We overeat ultra-processed food. This is hilarious. I got to pull this up on my device here. What was it? Let me pull it. Okay. So as I was doing data, this is what was one of the first things that was spit out by the World Health Organization. So you ready for this? A new study found no link between ultra-processed breads and cereals, ready meals, plant-based substitutes, sweets, desserts, and savory snacks, and an increased risk of suffering a combination of diseases. Researchers involved in the study included several from the International Agency for Research on Cancer, the specialized cancer agency of the World Health Organization. That's a load of crap. Are you kidding me? New study found no link between ultra-processed breads and cereals, ready meals, which is microwavable meals, plant-based substitutes, sweets, desserts. I mean, that is a load of garbage. And when we look at the data, did you know that like when you look at a study, a nutrition study that's published through a independent research agency, they'll show that 80% of that research with ultra-processed food shows harm. Yet when it's published by Big Food, 90% of their studies from Big Food come out and say ultra-processed foods are not harmful. So when you say like, hey, show me the studies, show me the research, I just laugh now. I just laugh because what they're saying, what that person is saying is they have no idea what they're saying. They have no idea what they're talking about. Hey, show me those studies on vaccines and the efficacy and safety, and I'm just going to start laughing inside. Maybe not to their face, but I'm laughing inside. Show me the studies on why statins or why sugar causes heart disease. Oh my goodness, you already lost me. Like we're so far from the reality of being in the same like conversation that it's not even worth it. So I just say, hey, yeah, man, I get what you're saying. I understand. And then I just grace and move on. Because again, we're just so far from even having the same, having a conversation from the same paradigm. So when we look at ultra-processed foods, we know they're a big problem. And right now, when it comes to sugar and everything, Big Pharma sells kids that cereals and granolas and breads and cereals, so box, bag, canned is healthy. Yet right now, 15% of kids have fatty liver disease. 15% have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is directly related to the foods that they are consuming. When we look at sugar, how much has been added in, right? Sugar, it's fine, it's safe. Seed oils. Seed oils was developed by Rockefeller, and it's pretty much like grease that you would put in like a car or any type of mechanics that allows for lubrication. That's what seed oils were originally invented for. So when we have this conversation of even like seed oils, these are not man-made foods. This is not man-made oil. These are very harmful to your health, and as you consume them, they are very inflammatory to the body. And so the whole purpose behind the Big Food is to create addictive, non-satiating food that you want to eat more of, and it's addictive. And so everything we think about from Big Food is to drive more sales. Are they trying to kill you? No. But are they killing you? Yes. That's probably the reality. Are they just trying to drive profit? Yes. But in that profit-driven market, there is a innocent bystander, and that's the public, because they're trained to look at commercials and ads to say, hey, these foods are healthy for you, when in fact they are not, and they are causing disease. So getting back to it, let's talk through the top 10 foods you have to stop consuming immediately that you thought was healthy, that you thought these foods were healthy. Number 1 are seed oils. Seed oils are not healthy. So seed oils would be anything like hydrogenated oils, soy, sunflower, corn, margarine, shortening, canola oil, or also called rapeseed oil. These genetically modified, rancid, trans fat oils are so difficult for our bodies to actually digest that they stay in our system. They drive healthy omega-3 fatty acids from our cells, disrupt the way our membranes function, and cause chronic inflammation. Seed oils flip the script. So look at the nutrition facts. I don't want you to look at nutrition facts. I want you to look at ingredients. And when you see seed oils, hydrogenated oils, corn oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, soy oil, right, canola oil, any of those oils, do not consume that food. Okay, those oils are terrible for your health, for your brain health, and cause chronic inflammation. So number one, seed oils. Number two, breads and cereals. I don't care if they're quote unquote whole grain cereal, whole grain bread. All of these are very processed, okay? And not to mention, when you look at bread and the way it's consumed today, bread, the flour itself is broken down to such a small particle size that it's rapidly absorbed into the bloodstream and spikes your blood glucose, causing metabolic disease. So breads and cereals a lot of times are quote unquote fortified or added foods, iron, B vitamins back in to quote unquote make them healthy. So bread cereals are not healthy. I don't care if they're whole grain, 9 whole grain, 15 whole grain, 100 whole grain. I don't care if they're ancient grains, New World grains. It doesn't matter. Whole grains, bread cereals are not healthy. And a lot of times they have flavor enhancers and food additives to make them taste good. Okay, so that's number two. Number three, fruit-based yogurts. So when you go to the store and you buy your kids yogurt, and it's just like a fruit-based yogurt, all of that sweetener, that sugar in there is driving this dopamine production in the brain, making them want more, and it's so full of sugar. There's so much sugar in these fruit-based yogurts. If you are going to buy a yogurt, grass-fed, A2, organic yogurt, plain, is acceptable. Kefir is acceptable. But when we look at fruit-based yogurts, we got to get rid of these, got to get them out of the house. That was number three, fruit-based yogurts. Number four, soda and fruit juices. So I look at fruit juices. We know soda's not healthy, but fruit juices, even though they're natural, have just as much sugar in them as soda. So that, hey, he's not drinking Coke, he's drinking lemonade. No, that lemonade has just as much soda, and they have chemical additives that's not even real lemon. It's not lemon. It's chemical additives to make it taste like lemon. So get rid of those fruit sodas those fruit drinks. When we look at what's added to them, a lot of times it's fructose, and fructose is very harmful to a child's health. It's one of the major causes of diabetes in our country today. So fruit juice, number four. Number five, processed meats. Full of nitrates and nitrites. Processed meats are not healthy. There's a reason why they can exist in your fridge for weeks on end, okay? Processed meats, even when it comes to like sausages and bacon, are not ideal for most people, as they are very inflammatory, high fat, not quality lean protein, and they're full of, again, chemical additives and sugar to make them taste good. So beware of processed meats. Number six, plant milks. You think you're like oat milk and you think your almond milk is healthy. Listen, I get it. I've consumed them, right? But they aren't. They're hyper processed, and they're not. Not to mention, we can go down the rabbit hole of all the glyphosate and pesticides that are in these milks. So if you buy organic, yes, that's better, but there are still tons of chemical additives in them to make them even desirable to actually consume them. So high processed plant-based milks need to go. Number seven, granola and protein bars. So when the kids are consuming all these granola and protein bars, when you look at the back and you see the soy protein and high fructose corn syrups and artificial ingredients, these are terrible for your child's health. And so these are quick calories, but they're not calories that are satiating. So they're just going to want more and more snacks and bars. So get rid of the granola, even if it's like again, the all natural grain, quality grain, whatever granola bar. These are not healthy. Okay. Number 8, you gotta go organic here. So vegetables and fruits that are non-organic. There's 1 billion pounds of pesticides sprayed annually on our crops. 1 billion pounds. 1 billion pounds of liquid pesticides that are tasteless, and they're all over your vegetables and fruits. These are storing in your body, causing infertility, heart disease, Alzheimer's, dementia, and cancer. Okay, you got to go organic here on the fruits and vegetables. It's estimated that when we look at even just the pesticides, we also have all these microplastics also on our food supply based on like shipping. And so making sure that you are buying organic fruits and vegetables and not in the stored like plastic bags that you would then, pick that up and put it in your shopping cart. Just pick it off the shelf. Pick that apple off. Don't buy like a bag of apples that have been sitting in plastic for weeks on end. Number 9, wheat flours. Wheat flours and almond flours and even coconut flour, major glucose spike here. So flours in general, listen, my wife and I still consume certain flours, but you have to be mindful. If you have a metabolic issue, if you are overweight, if you're having difficulty losing weight, get rid of the flours. They are causing glycogen or glucose spikes, and it's causing a major metabolic crisis in your body, okay? So if you've earned your carbs and you can use some little glucose spikes, fine. No problem. If you're metabolically flexible, sure, no problem. But for most people that are trying to lose weight, lean out, recompensate their body, you got to get rid of the flours. And number 10, Chick-fil-A. I know it sounds funny, but most people think that Chick-fil-A is healthy. You know how much sugar is in a bun, is in a chicken sandwich? Okay? It's not just chicken. They put a ton of sugar in there and chemical additives to make it taste good. So when you think Chick-fil-A is healthier than McDonald's, that's debatable. That's highly debatable. I would debate you on that. You could probably go to Taco Bell and get a healthier meal. So in my opinion, don't think Chick-fil-A is healthy. Know what Chick-fil-A is. It's not healthy. It's not a healthy alternative. It's fast food garbage. It's not food. Okay, it's genetically modified, full of synthetic additives, chemical additives that make it desirable to consume and have you keep coming back. Those are the top 10 foods you must get rid of or have a starting point of removing these foods over time so you can live a healthier life. Do not believe what big food is selling you. Ultra-processed foods are very harmful to your health. And these top 10, if you start to remove these top 10 from your diet, you and your family will live a healthier life. Gosh, this has been fun. This has been good. Good series. I've enjoyed it. So, as always, if you have questions, if you want us to, talk about a new subject, new podcast idea, as we get into October, we're going to talk about circadian rhythm. We're going to talk about sunrise, sunsets, and how to support your immune system. So if you have anything that you have questions about or want us to answer on the podcast, feel free to reach out to us directly through social media. If not, we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Real Health Podcast.